Okay, so there's plenty of examples in life. Okay, that'll give you that insight. But again, if you're too much of a recluse, what are you really experiencing? You know, you're just gonna have all this frustration and pent up anger that you're just gonna constantly be projecting. And when your opportunities come, because you're not used to being in these uncomfortable situations, and you don't even give them a chance or a try, you're gonna, you know, you're not even gonna fail forward. You're gonna fail backward, because you'll stay in that slump and that regurgitated mindset of that young man never wanting to actually grow in this thing. You know, you become men with age and time. No matter what, your body's gonna grow. You're gonna go through puberty, right? That's gonna happen. But the thing you got to do is cultivate that mind along the way. You have to cultivate the spirit. You know, cultivating faith. You know, being a good example, drawing people in. Again, you know, you don't want to be these narratives that they push on us, because people come by, you know, they're like, "Damn, you guys, you know, I thought I was gonna get attacked and yelled at and this and that."
You gonna beat me up.
It's like, for what? Then we can't do this. You know? Hey, then we can't do this. This is what we need to do. Okay?
Hey, like, if I may say, there was the guy China Mac.
Oh yeah.
The Asian rapper dude, which he's really an Israelite, confusing the face. But he was saying, because they got the whole situation going on with him and Charleston White. Charleston White pretty much, bashing the Asian community or whatever. Which, at the end of the day, and he's right. You know, they want to be Jakes and so on and so forth, and they mimic us. You know, some of them mimic us, Israelites and whatnot. But a lot of them, on the other hand, are Israelites, so it's naturally within the spirit. But the point being, China Mac was saying that from a young age, his grandfather had told him that if he was like 4 or something, he said his grandfather had told him that if he seen him talking to another black person, don't come back in my house, because he was living with his grandfather. And his grandfather had said that because he was picked him up from school, and he was talking to a young Jake, you know, and he said he called his mom and was like, he didn't even go in the house. He called his mom and told his mom to come pick him up. But he was saying that racism or whatever was still instilled in them from a young age. So with that spilling over into the truth, you have Esau that tries to demonize us as being Israelites and putting that negative connotation on us that, oh yeah, they're violent and they're gonna beat you up. So we experienced it in the world, and then you come into the truth and it's even worse, you know? Yeah, there we go.
Blessed are you and men shall revile you.
Yep.
What's the rest of that say though?
For the truth's sake.
For the name's sake.
The name, yep.
You see, it's very important, right? Because you'll see Jakes, especially early on, you know, getting harassed by the cops or, you know, getting into it with people, and they'll defer to that. Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah. We're getting persecuted, so we're doing good.
It's enough for the name's sake, man. See, so as the scriptures say, to honor your mother and your father. Who is your mother and your father? The Most High. In these scriptures, wisdom, man. So you have to honor that, man. You are a representation of that name. You are an ambassador. We're ambassadors. As an ambassador, right, you'll see when somebody wants war, they send out a shitty ambassador to purposely, you know, stir things up, right? You send a shitty ambassador when you want trouble, right? The Most High isn't sending shitty ambassadors, man.
You had the American, back when Trump was in office, you had certain defense ministers and foreign diplomats that were just complete pieces of shit that weren't respected amongst Russia and China. You know what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of deals or treaties that the U.S. had with other nations during previous administrations kind of fell apart when Trump was in office because that America's number one mindset, and you're gonna do what the fuck we say, you know.
Yep, that's a bad ambassador. And so even the scripture says, you know, in regards to the world and to the wicked, an evil ambassador is sent among you. You see? So we're not that evil and bad ambassador. Okay? We're the peaceable multitude. Okay? They're gonna slay us without a cause. You see what I'm saying? You don't give them a reason to slay you, because they're gonna slay you without a cause. These things must be fulfilled. So behavior needs to get on point. I know, did you have something?
Yes, it says, Sirach chapter 1, verse 24. He will, concerning a patient man, it says, he will hide his words for a time, and the lips of many shall declare his wisdom.
See? Because the truth is going to speak no matter what. Whether people want to hear it or not, the truth is around us right now. The truth of the world, the truth in general is speaking. But a lot of people will disregard it, man. Just like today, because it's a nice day. And this is why the Most High describes it as a thief in the night, coming at noonday when everyone's relaxed and comfortable. Oh, nothing could go wrong. What could happen? And then boom, it's taken away from them suddenly. Right, but for us, we're not going to be caught unaware because we understand the time. We're measuring the time diligently within itself. So we know how to behave properly. See the difference?
What may say?
Yeah.
In Pompeii, before Mount Vesuvius blew, and they think it was all peace and all good.
Yep.
Was having gladiator events and shit,
Yeah.
and then they got burnt up.
Yeah, even while it was while they saw it beginning to happen and it was happening, they still hung out like it was okay.
Yeah.
Until it was too dire, to where it's like if you try to run, you can't. You're within a radius zone that you're not going to get out alive. You're done. So yeah, that's what's going on right now in America. You got all this smoke, and it's to the point to where, look, it's so bad, no one's going to get away. The only people that are going to escape are the elect, man. Once this place gets set on fire, that's it, it's over. There is no hope for America, man.
That's right.
There is no hope. Okay? Not for America. So the hope is for Israel, the elect, to get up out of here. Right?
This is Proverbs 13:16. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. A wicked messenger falleth into mischief, but a faithful ambassador is health.
Right, it said a prudent man. A prudent man. See, so as we look up words, you gotta consider, okay, well, you know what the word prudent means, but how do you exemplify it? You can't always project. You see what I'm saying? You see how this is coming around now? If it didn't make sense before, it should make more sense now. A prudent man, you think he's going to be full of wrath and hatred and anger? No. He's going to be patient. Know when to speak. Not assume where he can sit. Right? Because it's embarrassing to be ushered out. You go to the movie theater, someone's in your spot, hey, excuse me, we need to leave. It's like, shit, my bad. You go to the baseball games, the stadium, you try to sneak down and get in someone's seat. You always you can't really enjoy yourself because you don't know. At any moment they could come and you could be removed. And you might even get kicked out of the entire venue. They'll be like, hey, you gotta go back to your seat. Where are your tickets at? Oh, you're like, oh shit. You see?
Busted.
Right, busted, man. You don't want to be the busted.
No.
All right. Anything else on deck?
I got
No? Okay, go ahead. You get back
So,
to this.
this is Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 2. It says, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before the Heavenly Father. For the Most High is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore, let thy words be few. And I was holding that in regards to the earlier conversation that, the earlier lesson that the brothers putting out there, man. Speaking about being hasty or being rash and getting into trouble, just uttering anything out of your mouth.
Right, because the scriptures even tell us, right, to understand much in few words. So the scriptures are teaching you, if you're listening, right, how to be a better student. We don't gotta say much, man. You know, we're watchers. You like for those into the Marvel universe and superheroes, there's a group called the Watchers. All they do is watch. You know, and they might counsel amongst themselves, but they don't say much. You know, understanding much in few words. There's a lot going on. You don't have to. You know, a fool, you know, will open his mouth at every occasion, man.
And you see those guys at like job sites or something, somebody that's always fucking jabbing their jaws, man, never shuts up. And the more they talk, the more of an idiot you like, man, I don't want to work by that guy. That guy's just gonna keep fucking talking the whole time, you know?
Yeah, and there's this this cat I was working.
Them stupid motherfuckers.
There's this cat I was working at matter of fact, not too far from here. And so I'm in a room by myself, and this electrician comes in there, and the way he was talking to his understudy was just like, it was stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like I'd hate to work with this guy, you know, because he's saying some old gay ass stuff, some stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck, man. But I figured he was from California, right? I was like, man, it was an Israelite. I was like, man, I bet this dude's from California. And I was gonna ask him, you know, just to, you know, chop it up, or, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, nah, because I'm gonna just listen, because he gonna give it away anyway. And so I just listening, and then he gets a phone call. He calls somebody. He had headphones in. And his whole conversation, bro, like if you was on that floor, like you can hear his whole conversation. He's like deliberately being all loud to get people to hear it and shit. So you know, I ended up figuring out that's exactly where he was from. But just loud and rude, man. You know.
Yep. A fool. You know, opens his mouth at every occasion. You know, the beautiful thing about
He rolled too.
Yeah.
He was like older than all of us.
And the beautiful thing about that is he's honest. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like in his idiocy, it's honest. You know what I'm saying? You can appreciate something like that. You know, it's like, hey, well, shit, he is what he is. Like, okay, that makes it easy, right? Discernment is easy. Right? So you can chalk that one up and move on to the next. Right? So, yeah, lessons, man. Always an opportunity to learn something, right? If we're willing. You know, a closed mind is not going to get fed. So if there's food presented but the mind's closed, it's going to be on the outside. So you're not feeding the wolf that you brought in. You're feeding the one on the outside now. So you see what I'm saying? There's always something happening. Energy goes somewhere. Energy goes somewhere. It's never just lost or destroyed.
So like, I'll you know, taking these tests and studying and, or whatever for class, they was talking about one of the subjects today was energy and shit. You know, you got conductive and kinetic,
Potential.
yeah, all kind of different types of energy. Man. You know, energy can be there's different ways energy can be produced. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And so we're fine honing the energy that we are. And it all starts with the tongue. Right? Now that says a lot though, because you're like, well, what do you mean the tongue? Well, because your mind is you're gonna say it. So you see what I'm saying? Understanding much in few words. The ancient men, ancient people, they didn't have to go to this depth of stupidity that we have to explain. It was easily understood. Much, you know, a lot of things back then were easily understood. Now we just got all this hand-me-down, repetitive, regurgitated knowledge growing up with it. People are like, we don't even know why we say the things we say. Like when someone tells you to hold your horses,
Yeah.
they want you to be stable. Horses going to be stable. Hold your horses. There's a lot of these little sayings where it's like, oh shit, that's what that means? That's why they say that? It doesn't make sense in this day and age, because who the hell, what are you talking about horses for?
Right.
You know, we got electric things, and you know, it doesn't, the world is weaker through age.
Yep.
Yep. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and 8. For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? So likewise, ye, except ye utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For ye shall speak into the air.
See? Making a clear conversation, man. Conversation needs to be clear. Instructions need to be clear. Directions need to be clear. Being precise, man. You know, the Most High speaketh once, twice, you know, and men perceiveth it not. You see? You pray for a strength, you pray for more faith. You're going to be put in situations that are going to require the things for you to show this is your opportunity to step in that arena. You asked for it. Remember that. There's power, life and death in your tongue. Right? So these are all valuable lessons that we can't lose sight of. Okay? Because there are going to be more and more people waking up. And there is more and more people waking up. Whether or not they get out there and they teach is another thing. Okay? But still, hey, we still got to do our part, that we may be fully blameless. Yep.
This is Job 33 and verse 14. For the Most High speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction.
See? So you say your prayers before you go to bed. You ask for certain things. Hey, what do you think's going on? Most High's programming and getting you ready to receive those things, man.
If I might say, and you're talking about a closed mind don't get fed, and a lot of these people are so closed-minded that the Lord got to actually program them while they sleep, because they're so headstrong in whatever they have in their mind that they gonna do and accomplish, that when they go to sleep, the Lord's like, nope, you're gonna do something else. Yep, you're gonna do what I want you.
You're gonna die this day, friend.
Right. All right, we got more precepts.
Yeah, I got a little bit more on this, and then the other one I was reading. Verse 17, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from men. Back in first.
Right. Yeah, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from men. You see? Because you don't want to be egotistical. You don't want to be proud and boastful. Remember, I said there's a balance to this thing. And that's the hard part, is the balance. Okay? You can't be too hard. You can't be too soft. You can't be too, stern. You got to find and maintain a balance.
Hey, Paul also said he keeps it in subjection unto himself, lest at any time when he preached to others, he himself would be a castaway.
Yep.
So, you got to, although we're out here preaching the word, we got to remember that, you got to actually practice what you preach, man.
Yep.
The totality of it.
The blood in your mouth will beat the blood on the ground. That's a lyric. I bite my tongue every time you come around. The blood in my mouth beats the blood on the ground. You see? So, hey, sometimes, and you might, be with a co-worker, you might be with a stranger, an acquaintance, a friend, a colleague, a brother, and, you might find yourself, you want to say something, like, I'm not going to say that, like, can't say that, Yeah. You learn to bridle the tongue. The blood in your mouth is going to beat the blood on the ground, man. Okay?
I may say, Superman. He can't walk around, just showing himself all day long.
Right.
Because then they'll know exactly who he is.
Right.
So, you got to have that Clark Kent mode.
Clark Kent, right. It takes, and that's a good point to make on that too, man. Clark Kent is really where you perfect yourself.
Mm.
That was his identity. That was his real costume. Because he's always Superman. Just because he had the cape on.
Can't turn it off.
Yeah, he can't turn off being Superman. So he would go into Clark Kent. That was his actual costume.
That's him blending in the matrix.
Right. And he was Clark Kent way more than he was Superman.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got to be. Even though you have the ability, right, or you might think you have the ability to do certain things, really you got to be more of a Clark Kent and less of a Superman.
They that show Smallville, which focused on his teenage years, basically, they had him playing football, and he would purposely fall for the tackles. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously nobody was gonna be able to take him down, but just so he's not like just this above. For him to be humble, he would fucking.
He played the game.
He would play the game, you know.
He played the game, acted like he'd get hurt, you know. And that was the thing. Superman, he could always beat and kill anybody.
Yeah.
He's that powerful. But when you see those epic fights he has with people, he's actually trying not to kill them.
He's pulling his punches.
Yeah, he's pulling his punches, and they're giving him hell too, you know. But hey, he could just kill people at an instant. But he would go through the fight, and it makes you wonder. It's like, damn, was he actually trying to turn people around, turn the villain away from being a villain? You see?
That's what I was going to kind of say. Like him being Clark Kent was his growing pains, like his learning process, because it's easy to be Superman. You know, he can easily fly and do all that other stuff, but to dumb himself down and be amongst the crowd, that was kind of hard for him.
And that's what we got to do. Be all things to all men. So you see how that versatility comes back into play. So being a recluse, you know, it's not going to be any benefit. You know, you got to go experience. You got to go out amongst the people. Yahweh say, hey, he sent us out. You know, you're trying to find Israel, man. You know, it's not going to be the first conversation you have. Hey, you know, you might take a number of conversations of hanging out with somebody before you can bring something like that up, because you're fishing, you're learning. There's different baits for different people. Not everything's so cut and dry. When you're out here, it's cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? This is open market. People stop, you know, they know the sign. You know what I'm saying? A large portion of the legwork's already been done. The advertisement's already been done. We're just out here now. We're like a Chinese restaurant. You never see commercials or ads for Chinese food, but they're fucking always in business. Think about, when was the last time you saw a commercial for a Chinese restaurant or a teriyaki spot or something? They don't do commercials, man. But everyone knows about it. Same thing with us. We don't got to do ads and all this stuff. They know. Because of this, we are our own advertisement. The Most High is the best form of advertisement. Word of mouth. And that's, see, now it's back to the tongue. All roads lead to success, man. But everything's the same. There's no new thing under the sun, man. But fine-tuning and honing in on these things is important. Okay, you guys got a lot of precepts there.
There's a little more on this Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 14 and 10, it says, there are, it may be, so many kinds of voices in the world, and none of them is without signification. Signification. Therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian, and he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me. Even so, ye, for as much as ye are zealous of spiritual gifts, seek that ye may excel in the edifying of the church.
That you may edify the church, man. So all things that we do is supposed to be unto edification. See? So being cool, calm, and collected, and that's the art of war. One thing that Apostle Ramlam always goes into: when people come hot, you go cold. You know, someone comes big, you go little. They go left, you go right. You know, they come on foot, get on a horse. It's simple. You know, you got to be the opposite. If they advance you, you can retreat. You know, you don't greet fire with fire. We just read that. You spit on it, right? Because everything can be an edifying moment if you take that opportunity. A lot of times why we won't take that opportunity is because we'll default back to a comfortable setting, which is the young man, that fiery young man. That's the default setting. You got to change your default settings. You go into a game, you can change your default controls to what's, you know, as you learn better skill stuff, you might move the buttons around. Okay, you know what, your finger muscles get better. You might move certain buttons around, certain command keys. Makes your life easier. Okay, this, Yahweh Shai said it, his yoke is easy and the burden is light, man. This is light work, man. See? All right, we got more precepts on that. Go ahead.
This is Proverbs chapter 17, verse 27. It says, he that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that setteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding.
See, this is what we are aspiring to be. But we have to actually go through these motions to get there. We have to actually experience these things. So if you're a recluse, where do you get to experience these things to fulfill these things? If you're not giving yourself time, chance, and opportunity. Time and chance happen to all men, but if you shut yourself away in the cave all the time, you go to your tent all the time, whatever you want to call it, your man cave, your tent, your home, your abode, whatever you want to call it, you're not getting much experience in the world. You know? Because you're learning new things, are you not? So you have to go and work with the new tools you got. You have to put them to use. Yeah, you know, we all have past experiences that, you know, you can increase your XP, if you will, your experience points, by revisiting things that happened to you in the past with the better mind that you have. But just like we say at camp, it's different when you're there in the moment. Seeing something happen on camera is different than being there in the moment. And you know that just like when you see something like a mountain, is different in person than when you try to take a picture of it. It's not the same. So we all understand that.
It doesn't translate the same.
It doesn't translate the same.
Like Tyson, everybody got a plan until they get socked in the mouth.
Yeah.
You know, it's different when you're in the thick of things because different variables come at you, man.
Yeah.
And that's when you gain that experience because you learn how to operate within all these different moving parts.
That's where you get to practice bridling your tongue.
Yeah.
That's where you get to practice biting and holding something back, you know, for the right reasons. You see? Go ahead.
This is Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
You see? The Most High is not mocked. So you reap what you sow. The energy you put out is what you're going to get back. What you project on a day-to-day basis, right, is what you're going to constantly be interacting with. You know? And some people like that. They're real feisty. You know, you look at the so-called black woman, right? That's all she likes is that contention-ass shit, man.
Yeah. Shit is
Controversy
toxic,
and
man.
content. Exactly. That shit gets old fast, man. You know, so if you're not the type to be able to walk away from things, like shit, you're screwed, man. You know? Right. And that's a whole nother, like, that can of worms, man. You can't talk about her. It's a can of worms. Because she's, you know what I'm saying? They're going to complain about all the men that exist now and how they are, but who raised those men? You did.
Yeah.
You raised those men, man. So you see, we got to become, and we're aspiring to better things. But how are we going to do it if we don't put it into work, man?
They got that podcast, Fresh and Fit. Apostle Gabar had mentioned it, where they had there's an episode where they brought up the scripture Isaiah 4, where it says 7 women shall seek hold of 1 man. And one of the co-hosts of the show, Benjamin from Barbados, he was surprised that was in the Bible. But the point being, on that podcast, what they do is based out of Miami. They have a lot of fine-ass women that they get on the podcast, and they just talk about like different things, and pretty much each one of these whores, for lack of better words, pretty much illustrates what they see wrong with men and double standards and or whatever. But you see how they esteem themselves better than a man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I think they're worth something.
It's bad. It's real bad. It's real bad. But in that podcast, they show you just the typical mindset of a woman and how they downplay men, but they don't take responsibility for their own BS. You know, which, like the brother said, is these women's fault for the most part. The reason why these young men growing up nowadays are the way they are, because of a woman's influence and teachings. You know, so they don't want to accept that, but they want to bash men. Oh, niggas ain't shit, and they are.
Right.
You gotta earn all this money, and you know they ain't worth my time, or the niggas is broken. But you know, it's a double standard.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, man. You know, because they don't need a man, but they got the kid, and that's how you get the money is because of the kid. Especially now with all these tax breaks and stuff, these women are going stupid, man. They really think that they're independent until shit breaks down, and then you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to come fix your shit, man. You're gonna be stranded by yourself with no amount of money. You know, some people might take the job just to have the money, but some people are gonna walk away from that job, man. Because of your attitude, your tongue, your personality, man. You know? There's not a lot of things that you're given on this earth that you can have the illusion of actual control over, man. So it starts with the individual. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good, man? So like the brother said, you reap what you sow. You are how you behave. You see? We got anything else on that? If not, we'll go back to James.
Yeah, I'll do that song. This is Habakkuk chapter 2. Actually, I started verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me, if I can say this on that, you know, that takes patience, you know, because earlier in the week, me and this brother was talking, and the brother was going in on, was it the disciple John that ran ahead of the rest of the, and he made it there first, but he didn't go in, you know, so he was patient, you know, so like in the scripture it says, I will watch to see what he will say unto me. So the Lord giving us that the spirit and the information to know what's going on, and then and what I shall answer when I reprove, corrected. You know, that's what it means to be corrected. So the Lord taking our minds out of the way, out of that thought process that we grew up in, or whatever we thought we knew, and the Lord renewing our minds. You know,
Because the opposite of being hasty and rash is being patient and slow, retarded. You got to be a spiritual retard, man. Slow it. That's what retard means. Slow down. You know, when you mess with timing on a vehicle, you got to retard the timing sometimes. You got to slow it down. Get the RPMs at the right idling operation. And that's a good thing, because that means everything is now in sync and in its proper balance. But there's still fire taking place. You still have combustion, ignition, fuel, air. You still have all those things going on, but it's in balance, you see? And because it's balanced, now that engine can move this vehicle like a ship, like the bit in a horse's mouth, the control of the thing. Get familiar with your own personal steering wheel, man. It's your seat, it's your